Welcome to American Med Spa Association podcast, Medical Spa Insider. This week, AmSpa founder Alex Tiersch is speaking with Nana Kalopoulos, PAC, owner and lead medical provider of Drip MediSpa.
Refresh your body, mind, and career journey at the Women in Aesthetics Leadership Conference being held October 3rd through the 5th at California's beautiful Terranea Resort. Walk is more than just another convention. It's an immersive retreat that combines education and networking with rejuvenation. For women aesthetic professionals who dedicate their time to the health and happiness of others, this is the opportunity to get away and focus on your own wellness. Reconnect to your passions and return with bold new inspiration for your business. Walk celebrates the med spa industry's opportunities for female empowerment and entrepreneurship, including the ceremony for the 2025 Distinguished Women Awards. Find out more and register at experiencewalk.com. That's experiencewalc.com. And as a Medical Spa Insider listener, you can receive 10% off your registration if you use the promo code WALC10. That's WALC 10.
Promo code valid for inclusive registration until September 11, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or standard registration until October 3rd, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Promo code only applies to the primary registrant and cannot be combined with any additional offers.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Alex Tiersch, and I am joined by the lovely and talented Nana Kalopoulos,
Hi, Alex.
and owner of Drip MediSpa in New Jersey. Is it Englewood, New Jersey?
Englewood, New Jersey. Yes, Bergen County.
Englewood, New Jersey. And boy, I tell you what, you have been a long time supporter of AmSpa, one of our earliest supporter and a client, and have been in the business for a long time. I still remember way back when I think one of my first calls when I was over at Bertadotto was with you, and man, but the reason, just to kind of give a little context for everybody, obviously, this is the podcast for American Med Spa Association. We talk with entrepreneurs and business owners, and med spas right now are in a very interesting time. I don't think it's necessarily hyperbolic to say that we're under attack a little bit. There's been a lot going on, from legislation to really bad news stories. There was the John Oliver story that came up that was that kind of was amplified. And one of the things that we need to do is really put forth, the narrative of what the industry is all about, and show that we are, really about safety and patience and all that. But I think one of the other sides to that, I think that is interesting, is that there are some really funky and bad things that happen to good providers because of the way that the med spa system is kind of set up, and the way that were perceived by the medical boards and by the public. And I say that not because I want to scare people, but because I do think we need, AmSpa needs help. Everyone needs to be engaged and involved in doing the right thing and being compliant and putting out the story of the right thing. Because what we're seeing, I think, and what you'll see from this story from Nana is, that we have a long way to go in convincing the powers that be what med spas do, because right now there is a really, really negative connotation, and it's unfair. And I think you'll see that right from the start. But anyway, before we get into that, which I know I've got people's attention now, Nana, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you joining us in your story. How are you?
Good. How are you? Firstly, thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be here. As you said, we go way back. I think before AmSpa even started, because
it might be.
You were an attorney at Bertadotto, and I was turned away by 3 attorneys here after they took my money to tell me that I cannot own a medical spa. And I said, I am not accepting no for an answer. There is a way. I'm going to figure it out. And I found you. and you gave me that way. So I am
Yes.
forever grateful to you and Bertadato, because you made it, happen for me legally and the right way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to be clear, you don't own a medical spa. You own
No,
a
I
management
don't.
company that provides services to a medical
Correct.
spa. But
The non-medical portion.
that's right, the
Yes.
non-medical portion. But that's actually a great segue. First of all, you're a PA.
PA, yes.
How long have you been a PA for?
19 years. Wow, that really aged me. 19 years. I can't believe it.
Well, but you're in aesthetics, so you look like you're 25.
Thanks. But and believe it or not, I started practicing aesthetics very early on, before it even became known. I would say 17 years. It was always my side gig.
Yeah.
And
when did you start Drip Medi Spa?
2016.
2016. Okay.
2016. It was the first official medical spa in New Jersey. They always had offices that offered Botox and aesthetic services, but not an actual separate medical spa facility.
Right. And I remember it was interesting because when you started, because you were doing IV drips and hydrations kind of very early on, before it was kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
How's that kind of been? That landscape has changed so much since then. What's that been
1,000%.
like?
So that was one of my side gigs before I started Drip. In New York City, we started the Hangover Club. That's what it was known for initially. Just, we had a hangover bus, and we used to pull up to all clubs and, the
awesome
spots. And we used to just infuse patients with drips after they were drinking all day. That's how it started.
So that's how you got into the
IVs.
Yeah,
that's how I got into the drips. And I always so emergency medicine was my field, my area of expertise. I also did concierge medicine in New York City for a pediatric for a pediatrician. That was concierge medicine was up and coming then as well. Yep. And somebody needed a PA to inject in their dermatology practice, and I jumped on it. I was single, I was young, I was just looking for opportunities. So I had about 5 jobs at the same time, and I just worked and, invested my time to just educate myself.
Yeah. And so that's how you kind of learn the ropes of aesthetics and injecting and all that. And then that's awesome. I remember when you went to open your med spa, that was an exciting time. That was, even 2016, that sounds like it seems like a long time ago. Wow. So, and first of all, you've gone through a lot with the business, and it feels like anyone who's been in business in this industry for longer than 5 or 6 years has gone through some trials and tribulations. Before we get into the real meaty stuff of the podcast, what talk about? I didn't know that there was the issue with your former business partner. Talk about what happened there. Right. That's tough.
Right. So, as you know, a lot of medical providers, such as PAs, don't have a business background, right? Just medical professionals. So I knew that going in. I knew that, my father was an entrepreneur, immigrant from Greece that came here and just started his business with $1 and his, the American dream. So I said, I knew I could do it. It's in my blood. But I don't know the administrative aspect. I don't know how to set up, a POS system. I don't know how to set up I don't know how to do these things. So I was also working at a pain management clinic once a month at per diem, and the manager there was looking to start her own gig as well. So I offered her to partner with me, and she did, and she claimed she knew how to set up the business. Apparently set it up all wrong, so I had to correct it after she left. But that being said, she ended up stealing from the company before it was even making a profit. So she had to go. And when I took over all the administrative, and I was the only injector at the time, when I took over the admin portion, I had one nurse, my Sarah. She is like my lifeline. She basically, dove in with me, and we figured out that all the administrative portion was just really messed up. Taxes. We had it was a disaster.
How did you figure out that she was stealing from you? And you don't have to get into the gritty
you know,
details, but I'm curious,
that,
like what?
that feeling that you get from
Yep.
people, that intuition, you never walk away from that feeling. And
Right.
something told me to just, because I just trust people to begin with, unless they give me a reason not to. So something told me, so I spent an entire weekend just diving into the finances, and it just didn't make any sense. And then I approached her about it, and I just knew from her face.
So did she deny it though and say, "Oh, nothing's going on"? But then,
no, she ended up admitting it. She did.
oh goodness,
Yeah, I proved she had.
yeah.
I came prepared.
How much did she end up taking?
So it was a lot of retail products, and about $10,000 in monetary value.
Still, like for a startup business,
more
like
than what she invested in the business. And because I wanted her to feel invested, and I had given her 20%. I don't know if you remember, part of the long time ago, the MSO was that I gave her 20% of the business. She invested under 10. But
so,
so that was my first big hiccup. And any business owner will know that, you always face, tribulations. You just have to grow from them and learn and never give up. Right.
Yeah.
And just keep moving forward.
Yeah. And so, what's kind of the takeaway from that? Because, we talk a lot about, when people are starting businesses, you have to choose your partners very, very carefully. It's easy when you get going, you get excited, you want to get going. And so you find someone who maybe has, whether it's capital or you think they have some know-how, and you're like, oh, yeah, let's do it. But really, you're right. And I'm guilty of this too. It's like you need to be so cautious and slow. It's just like date before you marry, and like be really, really cautious.
You know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I did do it that way, and I'm grateful for her, even though she did me wrong. I'm grateful for her because, she gave me that, security initially to feel more confident to start it, even though she really didn't know what she was doing. I felt that she did, and it really pushed me to move forward with Drip. And along the way, as I found things out, I just pivoted and made it work differently.
Oh, you're such a positive person.
You have to be in life. You have to be, or else you're just gonna crumble.
So let's get into it, because I saw you at Medical Spa Show this past April.
Yes, it was amazing.
That's when you told me the story. We were you were a PA. We were
at the meeting
at the PA Society meeting that we're putting together, and we're still very excited about that. The PA Society, for those
I am too.
Check it out. SAPA is what we call it. Rolls off the tongue.
Love it.
You told me what was going on with you, and I gotta say, it was really, really, I mean, it was hard to listen to. So there's it's not that long of a story, but I think it kind of gets, it's important to get into what happened. So let's just start kind of at the beginning, and give some of the background story, and then we'll get into kind of what actually happened, what some of the ramifications were.
Sure, absolutely. So Drip opened in 2016. It was founded in 2016. As the years progressed, others got inspired, and more medical spas started popping up. And I said, "Oh, I need to keep up. I want a new location. I want a storefront. I want to get somewhere better than this current location." So I decided to reinvest in the business. Any profit that I had made, I reinvested into the business, and I decided to relocate. That's a whole story in itself, which I know probably don't have time for. We'll save that for another day. Fast forward in 2023, we started our relocation between 2023 and 2024. So one of my, main focuses was I have to update all of the business addresses. I can't forget to update all of the business addresses.
Right.
And even though I had mail forwarding, I unfortunately overlooked updating my personal address for my PA license with the New Jersey Consumer Affairs. So
wait, so you mean you're like where you lived, or the business address for the
address.
PA?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
In the past, the license was going to my residence, my residential area. And then I forwarded it to the business, which was located in Fort Lee, New Jersey. And then when we moved, I just overlooked. Again, I'm not administrative. I had on a lot of responsibilities. I took on more than I could handle.
You just forgot.
And
You just
yeah,
forgot.
I didn't even think about it. So I didn't think about it. It didn't even cross my mind. You know, I had a whole list of all the important addresses that needed to be updated for the business, and forgot that
You're
personally
thinking of all like
I had
the
to maintain my life.
business registrations and all that stuff.
Correct.
That's an important one. You don't want to forget that one, but
Correct.
we're human. Stuff
Right.
happens, right? Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, we're in the new location. We're so excited. We're moving forward. And my nurse goes to order, you know, vitamins, and she's like, something's wrong with your license. I said, no, nothing's wrong with my license. Anyway, I, you know, took off that binder off my bookshelf to look, as I have everything printed as well. And yes, my license was expired.
So it had expired.
Expired.
How long ago had it been expired?
So it was about 3 months.
Okay. And there weren't any emails or anything?
No email. So I don't know if that's also my fault. I never had an email into the system. No, never had an email there. So I everything was via mail at that.
Yeah.
You know, I never really updated an email address. So I panicked. I reached out. I you know, found out that I needed to reinstate. So I filled out this huge packet for reinstatement, you know, and one of the questions was, what have you been doing during this time of when your license expired? Were you seeing patients? And my answer was yes, because I did not know that my license was expired.
and you were being honest? It's
of course, because those are the facts. So I was seeing patients, but as soon as I realized, I, you know, moved my very booked schedule onto my nurses. You know, some clients didn't want to see my nurse. Some clients, you know, wanted to just cancel, and that's okay. And it was very respectful. Yeah, so I immediately stopped. I didn't think anything was going to get worse from there. I just thought, okay, I'm going to reinstate. I'll receive my license and I can start again. I thought it was going to be as simple as that. So this was now, Alex, December of 24. Okay.
Okay. And how long after? Well, no, go ahead. You guys.
Yeah. So now we are, you know, let's just say January to make it easy.
Yeah.
Reinstated in January. The board did not respond to me until July.
So you had actually tried to reinstate.
So I reinstated. I sent everything certified mail.
Okay.
I reached out to them at least one email a week and at least 3 phone calls a week, which you get to a call center. You get a human person, but a call center that always told me that they're going to relay my information to the manager. They're going to relay my information to the manager. Never once received a call back. Email after email after email. And I have a full chain. You know, this is my livelihood. You know, I'm not practicing. I reinstated. I even sent my reinstatement back again, certified mail, for a second time. You know, no answers. At this point, I have no idea what's happening. And I'm like, all right, maybe they're just working on it and they're just going to send my license in the mail. So I'm still, you know, reaching out. July comes, I receive an email, one sentence, and it says, this is July of 24. And it says, someone will reach out to you to schedule your hearing. And that's what I read. I panicked. And, you know, I'm cool, calm, and collected. I had no idea why I would need a hearing, what's happening, you know.
Yeah.
I'm part of this PA Moms group on Facebook. So, you know, brilliant women. I actually sent a message there and I said, well, does anyone know why I would need a hearing for this? And they said, oh, because you answered, you were seeing patients in the time you relapsed. So they're like, you need an attorney. I hired an attorney. Now we're in July. I don't get a hearing till November of 24.
And this whole time you haven't been able to see patients at all.
No. And, you know, I'm now the sole provider of my practice.
Yeah.
I'm the administrator, so I kind of took advantage of the time, and I tried to see the light in the whole situation, and I focused on the administrative aspect of the business to kind of see where we could improve, what we could do better, where because I never really had that much time since I was busy, making everyone feel confident. So yeah, so I focused on the business and had some more family time that I never really had, and just kept moving. Now the hearing happens. My attorney, it was a virtual hearing. My attorney says to me, I'm not allowed to speak in this hearing. Yeah,
Really?
which
And I didn't know they did that in New Jersey. That's crazy.
yeah. So, she,
Like, why even have an attorney? But it's
well,
like,
it's the truth. Well,
yeah,
if I have to speak and, I don't even know I've never been in a situation before, I've been a PA for 19 years, never had any disciplinary action against me.
and
Um,
what?
So during this hearing, I was shocked, first of all, how militant it was. Everyone was so stern, and just by their faces, I was smiling and myself, and I said hi to everyone. No one said hi back. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So,
I,
and that's kind of like, and backing up a little bit, like, when did you ever get any inkling as to what the nature of the hearing was going to be about? Because ostensibly it's practicing without a license because your license was expired. Did you ever receive notice of that?
no.
Was there ever a formal complaint that was sent to you?
Okay.
And this, which is not necessarily uncommon. I mean, oftentimes they aren't required to send stuff. It's
Right.
but sometimes they do. So when did you realize that things were maybe not as you thought they would be? Obviously, it's already been a year, so you probably
Yeah.
a little
The
bit put off at this
first 5 minutes of the hearing. So, I accepted the fact that I'm going to have a hearing now. I accepted the fact that, I'm going to go in, explain to them what happened, and everything's
Yeah.
going to be okay. I honestly thought maybe they'll just grant me my license on the spot. Okay, everything's fine. Here you go. Thank you for explaining why. Right.
Yeah.
I thought they would look at, 19 years of practicing as a PA in many fields of medicine. I've never had any disciplinary action against me. I've never had, never had any issues with patients, and
there were no bad patient outcomes. There was
never,
nobody that was
never, knock on wood.
Okay. And
Never.
certainly as a result of this investigation, this wasn't a result of anyone being injured or bad outcomes.
Thank God. Right. No. But I was shocked during that hearing. They actually didn't focus on the lapse itself at all. Instead, they had my business website pulled up and went through every single service I offered. And I was interrogated, not about an oversight of my license lapsing, but about what field I practice in. One of the board members even asked me, I remember this, if we grant you your license back, would you return to aesthetics? And I said, of course, yes, that's what I'm in. I believe in this field and the work I do. And this is what I practice. I, built my own business. I just don't think that they understand that PAs can be entrepreneurs, and, they question the setup of the business. They wanted to know about contracts. They wanted to know about my medical director. They wanted to know questions that had nothing to do. They asked me questions that had nothing to do with my license lapsing.
Right.
I was very confused. I was not prepared for these questions. Of course, I answered them truthfully and honestly, and there was nothing, at least from my opinion, wrong about what I explained. I was asked about fluids and IV drips and why, and and I answered.
And I'm assuming you had, like, with your supervising physician and
Yes.
you had all the paperwork in place and
Of
all that
course.
stuff that you had done correctly. So it wasn't an issue that you didn't have the documentation or oversight in place. It was like you said they were asking like what type of medicine you were practicing, like talk about that. Were they literally confused as to how a PA could be involved in aesthetic medicine at all? Like, what was the
Yes.
tenor of that question?
Yes. I think from what I understood, that they didn't understand how a PA could even be injecting Botox or fillers. I think
Like,
that they
period, full stop. Like,
full stop. Yeah, it
even
was
in a derm office or whatever it was.
or even giving B12 injections. That simple. It was just very, and I even, they questioned me about B12 injections. And I had to make a point that my primary care physician offers B12 injections.
Yeah.
My primary care physician, there's nothing unsafe about a B12 injection, but, they literally asked me about that. It was clear to me that the issue wasn't the lapse. It was that I'm a PA practicing aesthetic medicine. It was very clear. And it was disheartening. I've earned everything in this field through hard work, training, and dedication, like over years. And I basically was shocked is the best word. And so
Yeah.
was my attorney, actually. When this hearing finished, she was just as shocked as me.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the board seem to have, and I asked this because I probably know the answer to this question already. What was their understanding of just medical spas in general? Because that's one of the things I've always run into with boards is they get, if you're a dermatologist, in this case, it's maybe even worse than that because they didn't seem to even get a PA doing anything, but they don't understand med spas. They just don't seem to get it. And the whole idea of just aesthetic medicine in general is foreign to them. Did they what was their understanding of the industry?
I think that they don't have an understanding. I think that's the problem. And I think they see this as just something that we get into for monetary value. I don't think they see it as medicine. I don't think they see it as something that's prideful or, they I don't know what they don't appreciate it. They don't respect it. They don't. They were asking about how much money my medical director makes, my supervising physician. Why would that need to be a conversation in a hearing for a medical license lapsing? They geared it to other things, I think, to gain light and insight because they really were clueless.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with medical board, we do see that medical boards in these investigations, they don't. Oftentimes what happens is you'll be investigated for one thing and then they just start opening the hood and they look for
Pandora's box. Yeah.
And they look for whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that part's not surprising that they were asking you other stuff, but it is disheartening that they didn't seem to understand the role of PAs and just aesthetic medicine at all. What were these physicians? Were any of them in plastic surgery?
Some of them were surgeons, general surgeons. Some of them were GI docs. Some of them were primary care doctors. They had a good mix.
Okay.
But it was not pleasant.
It was a bloodbath.
It was not. Yeah. And, I'm generally a very happy person. Honestly, after that, really needed to just shut down for 24 hours. It really affected me. I don't think I've ever been affected like that.
How long did it go on? How long was the hearing?
1 hour of very strict interrogation.
Yeah. And it was all about the business. They had your website. Did they ask about, did they ask about some of the procedure questions, how new patients were seen?
Yes. If I've ever had any negative outcomes and, they asked about that. Luckily, no. And I've told them, Botox only lasts 3 months. If there's a negative outcome, we correct as best as we can. But luckily I've explained that I had experience. I continue education. My board certification is up to date. My CMEs, I continue my training. I take advanced training courses,
Right.
Back when I started, we didn't have training back then.
Right.
Pretty much taught yourself.
Right. So what was the result of this? You had an hour of this kind of berating.
This was in November.
Yeah.
I didn't get my answer. So now, mind you, I am a year out of practice. I'm not for at least a year.
And in limbo, it's not like you've been suspended or anything, right? Now you're just in limbo.
No, I have no idea what's going on. So I get an answer. My attorney calls me on December 28th of 2024 And she basically says, you're going to be suspended until September of 2025, and you have to pay a $25,000 fine.
$25,000 fine.
Yeah.
And what was what is there a reason? What was their rationale or their finding? Like, what was
no reason, no reason, no questions asked, straight to the point. And I don't know what they discussed about it. I didn't get any explanation. I don't even have a court order yet. I don't have anything written. That was just sent from the attorney general to my attorney via email. It is now July of 2025. Technically, I'm supposed to be able to start practicing again in September of 2025, but I still don't have a court order. I don't know if I'm going to just get my license in September. I don't know if I have to reinstate again. I still don't understand what's happening. I'm due for my board recertification. I can't even get that going because I don't have my license right now. And, the attorney general told my attorney, we've had emergencies come up. So, this was pushed back.
but there's been no written explanation for the finding, like you violated this rule or this law, or here's what we find as the medical board, and this is why we're levying this fine and this suspension. Was there anything like that you've seen?
No, I have not seen anything. So I'm assuming that will be in the court order. Is that typical practice?
Well, never been in a situation like some kind of an order, to look at and to see, like, okay, because how else do you know what?
Don't know. I don't.
What my
life is in their hands. My life is in their hands.
Yeah.
My life is in their hands.
That's crazy that there hasn't even been an explanation for it.
If I would have known this was going to happen, I would have not even moved my practice. I have a brand new practice in a brand new location that I invested all my profits into because
you still haven't even practiced. Yeah.
Right. I believe in this industry. I believe in this new journey of medicine. I believe that one day this is going to be recognized as its own specialty with formal residencies, fellowships, standardized education. The demand is there. The science is there. And I think it's time that regulatory bodies catch up with how much this field has evolved. And this is the problem, because more situations like this are going to arise. We're human. We have a lot on our plates. Unfortunately, there's no excuse for me missing, a renewal date. It falls on me, and I accept that, and I'm truly sorry for that. And I will never let this happen again. I learned from my mistakes.
Yeah.
But I really don't think this is fair to just keep me.
Well, at this point, it's been, going on 2 years of suspension.
Yeah.
And not to mention the fine.
Forget it. Forget it.
It's there's, I think you mentioned this when we were talking, and I can't remember if you said that this is something your attorney told you, or this was maybe a supposition that you made, but it was something like the board just did not approve of PAs doing aesthetic medicine.
Yeah.
And were there any PAs on the board?
No.
There was just, and which is also not totally uncommon. I should have brushed up on my New Jersey law because I don't remember ahead of time. But that is, and New Jersey has some funky things, but I don't recall New Jersey being strange with results of what PAs can do in medicine in general. Like you generally, if you have your supervisory agreement in place, and
ER, I ran that ER. I worked night shifts at the docs would sleep.
Yeah.
I run that ER by myself. I literally, I've never had any issues of what I was able to do as a PA. Again, they didn't verbally say this. This was just my impression based on, the questions they asked me, their demeanor, and just overall the entire hearing process, and how it, I really was like, wow, this was not even about my license.
Yeah, that's true. It absolutely was not. And I think, again, this kind of reinforces the point I've been making kind of all over the country, that what we need to do is And this honestly in some ways falls on MSPA and us, is that we need to educate the boards and convince them
I
through
believe that.
data and statistics and stories that, look, this is okay, this is safe.
Yeah.
This is because PAs operate in this way in other areas of medicine. It's no different. But it seems to me, and again, I don't know this having not been there, I can't wait to see the final written conclusion, because I also wonder, well, this is, there's a lot of things I wonder, but like, I can't help but wonder if this is, if somebody has kind of an agenda, and unfortunately you're kind of caught up in the wash as the PA who got kind of, your ticket was punched at the exact moment that they wanted to make an example.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately we see, and that's really, really too bad. But I think we've got to and this is why I think, we want to get PAs to come together, because the PAs need to
absolutely
have a voice. And the only way it's going to change is if the PAs in New Jersey get together and say, look, this is not right. Like, you've taken your medicine, but at least we don't want this to happen to other people.
Yeah, and PAs play a critical role in that evolution, right? We bring years of clinical training, diagnostic experience, patient-centered care, right? Aesthetic medicine deserves respect, and the professionals that are committed to doing it ethically and safely deserve that respect. Because there are practices out there and providers out there that are not ethical and unsafe. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to point fingers at anyone. And, I just feel like it's unfair for when you do everything by the book, everything right. And, just because the medical board has lack of education and aesthetic medicine, that it should be held against me.
Yeah, I agree. It's like I was just talking with, gosh, who was this the other day? Like, there are real, like, we as an industry have to acknowledge there are real issues that we have to solve, right? There are bad actors out there. There are people who are doing things they shouldn't be doing. Let's get after those people.
Yeah.
But it's not helpful when, there's no patient injury, you were doing things the correct way. Like, you're not trying to take advantage of people or the system. You're not, buying counterfeit Botox from Alibaba.
Oh my goodness, no.
Right? You've got your supervisory agreements, all your supervision in place. Like, there are things that the medical board can and should be focused on in this industry, but it shouldn't be you, because it now takes our attention away from focusing on the people that we do need to focus on.
Yeah,
and that's too bad.
I agree, Alex. I agree 1,000,000%.
So you're still kind of in the middle of this. What's
really putting my life on hold completely in many ways,
what do you like? How do you feel about this whole thing? Like, and I can only imagine this has got to be just you upside down. You are very positive. So at the same time, you're probably seeing the bright in it somehow.
The hardest part is I didn't know what to tell my patients, and I still haven't told them, because I didn't know how long. I thought it would be a quick fix and I'd be back in no time. I didn't realize it was going to take all this time. If I knew that this would drag on this long, of course I would have told everyone what had happened. I just didn't know what I was allowed to say, what I wasn't allowed to say. When now, I can't even get everyone excited for me to return, because I don't even know when I can open my books.
Yeah. Like, when can you return? Who knows?
Right. So it's just being in limbo right now. That is not a good feeling.
Yeah. And so there's been no news from the board as far as the next step.
As of yesterday, the email that my attorney forwarded me was basically saying that I asked for an update, and it basically was, we've had emergencies come up, and all I asked for was my court order and when can I start? What's happened? And that they've had other emergencies come up and they have not gotten to me yet.
Oh.
And they were supposed to they promised a court order back in April.
So what's,
So I'm still focusing on the business. I'm still, become, I feel like I really taught myself everything there is to know about running a business. I've sorted a lot of things out. I have two amazing injectors. They're RNs, and I don't let my nurses inject until they've shadowed and had extensive training with any possibility that arises for 2 years. So I am very strict and very selective in who I allow to inject at drip. And so they've been, holding it down. They're amazing. And yeah, I'm patiently waiting now to I miss it so much. Like, it's just my passion. I feel like I've invested so much time over the years in so many fields of medicine. I worked in the ER through COVID. I did so many things that I just feel like this is all I want right now. This is it's. At first, I was worried that this position is not rewarding because it's rewarding to help sick people, but once you give someone their confidence back and they cry in your chair, that you've really done your part. And this really is more of like a mental wellness field as well. Patients feel so good about themselves, and you can really help them fight so many other mental illnesses by just giving them their confidence back.
Yeah. No, that's true.
It's very rewarding. I found over the years.
I hear that over and over again. And I think that's one of the things that I think, we need to convey is that it's not just about the looks and the glam and the money.
Oh my God, no.
There's so much more than that. So what's the message you want to get out to, whether it's PAs or other folks that are out there that are it's tough. I'm not sure what the lesson is, because it's
I just want to advocate for the future of the PA profession, the aesthetic medicine field. I just feel like aesthetics are just getting started, even though they've been around for a while now. I feel like it's only going to get better for everyone if and only if the medical advisory boards are accepting of us, because they're going to keep trying to nitpick at things, which listen, I think that they should nitpick at the facilities and the injectors that are not supposed to be injecting, right? Because I know a lot of places that are non-medical facilities, or they don't have, a correct hierarchy in place. So I do think that there are some pretty bad, things going on, but I think that they should know how to differentiate them. I don't think every injector is made equal. I think that they need to know how to differentiate what is acceptable, what is not. And I think that it's just lack of education.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's and that's what we as an organization, as an industry together need to do. Like, if I say more than anything to people is we've got to get together. Like the med spa industry is, when we do things as a singular kind of force, like together, like we can do anything, but we've got to be on the same page. We've got to be united. And that means, okay, so what are the standards going to be like? And that means making sure that some folks who, that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, then they shouldn't be doing them. And let's make sure they stop doing them. So there's a lot that goes into that. And we have a responsibility, but everybody has a responsibility too. Man,
and don't take on more than you think you can, right? And just things will get missed and lost, and unfortunately they could be really important sometimes.
Yes. Well, and it's also like, and whenever we, whether it's doing our boot camps where we give our legal talks or just legal, it's like what we always tell people is that the reason you want to be compliant is not because you're going to get, you're going to have somebody find out that you're doing something wrong by the police busting your door down. It's because of something else, something insignificant that happens, paperwork, right? Something like that. And the
Right.
minute people start looking, that's when the box is open. And without more education, until this is mainstreamed in the medical board's mind, that this is, unfortunately, really disappointing, not surprising, although a little surprising, because this seems to be really, really kind of out of left field. So,
Ugh.
thank you very much for sharing the
Oh my
story.
God,
No, I know
Alex,
this is
thank you
probably,
so much for having me. I honestly feel like a breath of fresh air. I've never really spoken about this like this. I just,
well, I appreciate it. It's not easy. I mean, it's not easy to get out there
yeah,
and say that, and it's but I think it's
and
also it's needed, because I guarantee there's probably others that have been in this situation or who will be, and it's good
yeah,
to know that
yeah.
that you're out there. We will provide. Do you want to provide information about how to get a hold of you if folks want to reach out?
Sure. I can be emailed at Nena, Nena, at drip, DRIP, MEDI, spa, SPA.com. Yeah, I'm whatever you guys need, I'm here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. We'll have to,
Thank you,
I want to
Alex.
keep in touch, and which I know we will, and then
Absolutely.
get some updates on what's going on, because I think I'm hopeful there's going to be a happy ending to all this.
I'm willing to help wherever I can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much.
Refresh your body, mind, and career journey at the Women in Aesthetics Leadership Conference, being held October 3rd through the 5th at California's beautiful Terranea Resort. Walk is more than just another convention. It's an immersive retreat that combines education and networking with rejuvenation. For women aesthetic professionals who dedicate their time to the health and happiness of others, this is the opportunity to get away and focus on your own wellness. Reconnect to your passions and return with bold new inspiration for your business. Walk celebrates the med spa industry's opportunities for female empowerment and entrepreneurship, including the ceremony for the 2025 Distinguished Women Awards. Find out more and register at experiencewalk.com. That's experiencewalc.com. And as a Medical Spa Insider listener, you can receive 10% off your registration if you use the promo code WALC10. That's WALC 10.
Promo code valid for inclusive registration until September 11, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or standard registration until October 3rd, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Promo code only applies to the primary registrant and cannot be combined with any additional offers. Thank you to our producers, Madeline Mahler, Marketing Content Coordinator, who organizes the podcast schedule and guests, provides topics and talking points. And myself, Joe DeGuzman, Technology Operations Manager. I handle the audio and video editing, voiceovers, and tech. Kate Harper, Senior Digital Marketing Coordinator, who makes all of our graphics and manages the podcast platform. Esme Uriostigi, Senior Social Media Coordinator, who makes and posts all the clips for the podcast and posts them to our social feeds. Our music is by Ghost Score.